Hi class, we're going to continue with Chapter 3, Solving Linear Equations today, and we're going to move on to Section 3-7, Ratios and Proportions. A ratio is a comparison of two numbers by division. The ratio of A to B can be expressed in the following ways. A, and then write the word TOB, A colon B, or A over B. Any of these ways is acceptable to write a ratio. Ratios are often expressed in simplest form. So if you had an example, 4 to 2, and you were asked to write that in simplest form, it should be written as either 2 to 1, 2 colon 1, or 2 over 1. All I did was simply reduce the numbers. Now let's look at an example up here. Express 6 over 3 as a ratio in simplest form. You try this one. Is the answer A, 2 over 1, B, 2, or C, all the above? If you answered A, 2 over 1, you are correct. B is incorrect because you have to write a ratio in terms of two numbers by division. And 2 over 1, we know that that is the same thing as saying 2, but if you just simply wrote a 2, it's not expressed in ratio form. Therefore, that would be incorrect in this example. So A is the right answer. An equation stating that two ratios are equal is called a proportion. 4/5 is equal to 24 over 30 is a proportion because if you were to take each of these fractions and reduce them, 4/5 can be divided both top and bottom by 1, and 24 over 30 can be reduced by the number 6. And if you do that, you get 4/5 is equal to 4/5. These fractions are equal to each other, therefore they are called a proportion. Another way to determine whether two ratios form a proportion is to use something called cross products. Let's look at our previous example and solve it using cross products this time. So let's look at 4/5. Does that equal 24 over 30? If you cross multiply, which is what cross products is, you simply have 4 times 30, which is 120, and 5 times 24, which is 120, and 120 does equal 120, so the answer to this one would be yes. Let's look at the next example. Do 6/8 and 24 over 28 form a proportion? Let's check using cross products. We're going to cross multiply. 6 times 28 is 168, and 8 times 24 is 192, and 168 does not equal 192. Remember that equal sign with the slash through it does mean does not equal. Therefore, the answer is no. These two ratios do not form a proportion. You can write proportions that involve a variable. To solve the proportion, use cross products and the techniques used for solving equations. Let's look at this example. I want you to solve for x. So we have x over 4 is equal to 6 over 8. We're going to cross multiply using cross products, and we're going to end up getting 8 times x is 8x, 4 times 6 is 24. Remember, we need to get that x to stand alone, so we're going to need to move the 8. In order to do that, we're going to do its inverse, which is to divide both sides by 8, because the sign between that 8 and x is multiplication, and the opposite of multiplication is division. So simply 8 goes into 8 one time, or just x, and 8 goes into 24 3 times. Our answer is x is equal to 3. Remember to always put a box around that answer so it's easy for me to find. Let's look at the next example. 16 over 7 is equal to 9 over x. Notice I put the variable in a different location, which is permissible, can be anywhere. We're going to still use cross products to solve. So we're going to multiply 16 times x is 16x, 7 times 9 is 63. Again, same thing, we need to get rid of that 16. The sign between the 16 and the x is multiplication. Therefore, we do its inverse or opposite, which is division. Divide both sides by 16, and we get x is equal to 3.9375. Remember, in this class, we round to the nearest hundredth. Therefore, our answer is x is equal to 3.94. This is where cross products is very useful, because in this case you just probably couldn't get that one off the top of your head, and so this way it's much easier to use cross products than try to come up by reducing fractions or finding the missing term. Tomorrow in class we will look at a few more examples and work some problems that involve real-world applications.